And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Live with Yana live stream. And tonight's topic is how to create work-life balance to avoid burnout in IT industry. Thank you so much for finding some time this evening to join our live discussion. Please make sure introduce yourself in the comments and let us know what you do. And obviously join our conversation with your comments and questions. If you're new to my live show, I'm Yana Martins, and I've recently started my journey as an IT recruiter. So hence, I've started a new YouTube channel dedicated to IT career in Australia. So tonight, we're going to talk about how to create work-life balance to avoid burnout in IT industry. And Kanika is going to share her valuable insights and real-life experience as she worked in IT industry for like over 17 years now, from like giants like Google and Amazon to startups and scales ups. And now she's a founder of a modern health platform to help people restart their life with more balance. So obviously incredibly relevant topic, especially in these times of uncertainty. So make sure tag and share it with your friends who need to hear this today. So before I'll pass it on to Kanika to introduce herself, I just want to quickly remind you that we're going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you want to watch replays, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, IT Career in Australia, where I'm going live every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. with various experts from my network. And we're talking about all things around IT career, job search, and specifics of IT industry in Australia. So make sure ask as many questions as you want, but please stay on the topic. So we'll try to answer all your questions from all the platforms. And the most active participants also might receive some nice surprise at the end of the stream. So that's enough of me. So I'm passing on to Kanika to introduce herself. Please.
Hi, everyone. And I must admit that it does feel a little nervous to be on a live stream with Yana to talk about something that immensely impacted me personally, and that led to the start of the modern health. And this is the first time I am talking about it externally to people. So it's exciting. I'm nervous. And thank you so much, Yana, for the opportunity. Just a little about myself, and I don't know, Yana, if you're going to roll the slide. I was, as you can tell from my accent, wasn't born in Australia. I was born in India. And I've had a long career in IT, starting as a software engineer, started my sales career with Google in India, and then did startups. And I also did my MBA from Indian School of Business, which was probably one of the most valuable year of my life, and helped growing, as Yana mentioned, some startups in Asia Pacific. As the reason why I shared my career journey with you is, most of you who have migrated out of your country, or people who have gone through different stages of their career and have done 15 years and more, or even 10 years for that matter, understand that life goes through different stages. And in all these stages, we make certain compromises to climb the corporate ladder. And if you are in any profession whatsoever, you would have a day or two or weeks where you would say, I didn't sleep well. Oh, because I had a lot of things to finish tonight. And I was one of them. There were weeks and times where my motto was, I will sleep when I die. And of course, I was very close to dying. Well, that's a joke, but there was a stage in my life I became interested in sport and weightlifting, and that was the turning point of my life. And the reason why I consider it a turning point even more than my MBA is it taught me a lot about my body. It made me conscious, oh, my body is stressed on a particular day, and a lot of you, and I know we'll get into a more detailed conversation, Yana, sometimes don't realize what we are doing to our body. This is the home we live in, and we don't know what we are doing to it. So weightlifting changed the way I looked at my body, It gave me more awareness of my mind. I started meditating, and I almost transformed myself. So people who have known me, and if there's anyone who's followed my journey on LinkedIn, thanks for joining the live. But people who know me know that I have transformed not just my physical body, but my mind. And that journey made me realize what I could contribute for all of you, and that's the reason why we started Modern Health, and it's an exciting journey, and I'll talk more about it today. So sorry, Anna, it took a bit of time, but I had to share the story.
No, of course. Guys, make sure to introduce yourself in the comments as well. So just say hi to us so we know who's joining us tonight. If you're in Melbourne, how was the earthquake this morning? Did you feel that one? That was definitely a bit of a surprise for me. Haven't expected that. So, guys, so make sure to say hi. And also, I guess my first question to the audience as well, before we dive into discussion, would be: do you feel burnout? Do you feel burnout at the moment, or maybe you experienced burnout before? So please let us know. There's so many uncertainty at the moment. Did it contributed to to your burnout as well, or not? So make sure join our conversation. And I guess, Kanika, the first question for you. So where do you start? Why so many people get burnout, especially in IT industry?
Especially in the IT industry. I think burnout can happen in any industry, Yana, and thanks for pulling out this stats. This is from Asana, a very popular platform for workforce management, wellness, and wellness. The stats are again, I don't think we need the stats to know that people are burnt out. I have met so many people, men and women, who have faced stress, exhaustion, reduced me time. Because earlier we used to probably travel, to go to work, or we would get our coffee breaks. A lot of women shared with me that they used to love the fact that they could read a book without anyone around when they're traveling, and that me time went away. And uncertainty is not something that everyone is good at handling. And I always talk about our body's reserve capacity to take stress. So when we were working X amount of hours, we still had some capacity in our body to handle stress and unknowns. And there are enough unknowns in any workplace, And then we had more unknowns. And I don't want to talk about, a lot of unknowns around when the lockdown will get over, but there are many unknowns that everyone is dealing with. And all these unknowns led to reduced reserve capacity. There is enough and more research that our team has done to be sure that 80% of people working today in IT are actually are abusing their body because they are eating into the reserve capacity. And that's stress, that's tension, that's anxiety, that's all, crept into our life. And that's exactly the numbers that you see. And I'm interested in knowing from people what they feel about it. Again, burnout sounds like a very big word, and burnout doesn't necessarily mean that you need someone to help you out of a situation. Burnout could mean extreme number of days of being on a tension headache, not being able to sleep well. I've spoken to several people after starting Modern Health who have sleep issues, people who are suffering from anxiety disorders. And a lot of them feel it is okay because everyone is anxious. I'm sure that, Yana, you would agree, and people will agree, it is not okay to have tension headaches. It is not okay to work with a suboptimal body. It is not okay to feel that way and then also assume that you will be productive at work.
And I guess that's also a really good question to the audience. Do you guys just like walk through your headache and you just don't stop? You know, as Kanika mentioned before, her attitude before was just like, I sleep when I die. Does anyone who listening to us tonight feel the same way? Shakar is saying hi. Shakar is joining us from India. Junior saying hi. He's in Melbourne, so he's been in the earthquake as well. So, guys, what do you do to make sure you stay healthy and you don't get to that point that you're just like pushing through every day and just everything just kind of blurs in one day? Share with us also what you think. And I think, Kanika, you have a really good statistic here about people what employers report in terms of like why they feel burnout.
Yes, and again, some of these numbers, I'm sure that you all already know this, but the fact that 55% of adults in the workforce are not meeting physical activity guideline isn't really news, And when I say physical activity guideline, and I was very tempted to talk about it when we were talking about, my starting weightlifting. Physical activity doesn't necessarily mean strength training. That's a form of physical activity. Physical activity can be as simple as being able to lift both your arms up when you have to reach for a jar in the kitchen shelf. And I can tell you, a lot of people who do long desk sitting, when they go to the kitchen and try to pick a jar that is above, they either will have a back tension or they will have sore neck. We've treated with modern health a few people who did not even know that they were having, a stressed neck because they were sitting without any sort of body movement throughout the day. So I just want to clarify one thing. When you say physical activity, it doesn't mean going for a walk or a jog. A lot of people, 55% of the people, don't do anything. The next one, Yana, is the reason why the burnout has increased. The number of hours that you were working in a single year just in 2020 went from 236 to 436. People are working more because they're at home, and there is a reason for that. It's a beautiful book, and I recommend everyone reading it. It's called 7-Day Weekend. We all, and I blogged about it as well, we all compartmentalize our life into work and holiday. So we work. And if there is no work, we need a holiday, or we need a fancy dinner, or we need to go out somewhere. The opposite of work is no work. It's being idle. It's sleep. And that's completely, we've trained our body to think differently. So these stats show nothing but the fact that COVID came in at a time when we were so far away from what normal should look like, what good health should look like, and it's trained us even more. Now, what's going to happen when COVID gets over? 80, like whenever international borders open, 82% of the employees want to take, want to go away. 25% of the employees want to go on a holiday. And that again goes back to my point that we believe we need a holiday to be at peace. I'm not denying that holiday allows you to switch off. But all I'm saying is you should be able to switch off where you are. You should be able to go to your bed and get a good night's rest. You should be able to feel energetic throughout the day to be able to do what is needed at work, to be able to sit on the couch and have fun with your family, go out for a walk, and not feel that you are working on depleted levels of energy. So those stats show nothing but the fact that we have trained our body and mind to go away from what normal should look like.
And I definitely agree in terms of, like, even when we're talking about like some physical activity. Yeah, we're not saying that people need to spend, like 2 hours in the gym every day. Yeah, it's just like basic exercise and stretches that you can incorporate in your life, and will be surprised, the difference it can make. So, Kanika, I guess, like, let's get into some of your like practical tips. Yeah, so we want to, avoid burnout. We want to be more healthy, but when we start thinking about it as like a big problem, it's maybe feel overwhelming for someone who especially used to sit in front of a computer for 12 hours. So where, like, what everyone can do tomorrow to get their way to um, more balanced life? What would be like your simple tips that everyone can like implement straight away?
Okay, so I'll give lots of tips because that was my goal for this session. But before I give this tip, there is one word which I have realized that none of us, including myself, wanted to accept. None of us want to accept that there is an issue. And I'm telling you, almost everyone who's joined this live will say, this is not me. But let me start with some simple things that will surprise you because it surprised me. 80% of us are mouth breathers. We breathe from the mouth. What does that mean? Is we are not mindful whether we are actually breathing from our nose, from our mouth. I don't know how many of you even watch how you breathe. But when I started doing meditation and was mindful, I realized how many times in the day I was breathing from the mouth. And, if you did not know, breathing from the mouth gets you into a distress state and anxiety faster. And it also leads to sleep apnea. So if anyone thinks that I'm not the person who has an issue, because of course, if you were stressed and anxious, extremely anxious, probably you would not be joining Yana's live. So I'm giving you some tips to assess where you are, right? One is mouth breathing. The other, which I hope that everyone knows about it. I don't know how much water everyone drinks during the day. Everyone talks about it, but you should be having a minimum, of 2 liters of water during the day, even in winter. Body needs that water, and that is really important. Now, the third thing I'll talk about in terms of identification, whether you're healthy or not, is when you close your eyes and you think of health, if you think of boiled food and boring food, and you think of going to the gym and having six pack, that's not the health that I'm talking about. The health that I'm talking about is to be able to focus and concentrate while you're sitting on the laptop on where you are without having brain fog. And I'll tell you what brain fog means, Yana, and I'll give you a good exercise to get out of it. When we sit in a slouch position on our laptop for a very long time, naturally, because of our posture, we start mouth breathing. We are not nose breathing. And that leads to brain fog and leads to lower productivity. A very, very easy way of getting out of this is you take your hands, just leave them loose, go down to your knees and inhale and exhale 5 times. And it's as easy as sitting at your desk and doing it. Another great way of getting yourself to breathe and move is take your arm and just stretch, and I'm giving you some simple stretches which we do in our week 0 with everyone who works with us. But these are simple movements that get you to be in the right posture and be able to breathe well. So my first tip, which is also on the slide, is, and this is Chris Venter gave this phrase to me on the Modern Health webpage. If you've not subscribed, he said motion is lotion. So I thought I might as well use it. Moving is really important. And please don't think you have to run. Please don't think you have to do weightlifting. Please don't think you have to go to the gym. Just move. And if you are unable to move, you should know that you need someone to help you with it. You could have a pain in your neck, you could have a pain, you could have pain in your back, and you need simple exercises, because don't force your body to get into certain positions that you shouldn't be getting into. And I'll talk about it in a minute. The second tip I'll give people, again, this is related to moving, but it's connected to being mindful and breathing. On our website for the Modern Health, I've provided a 2-minute free meditation. It's called Pause. And all that pause does is it allows you to use a guided meditation to get a framework on breathing. If you want to know what meditation is, I can go on for hours, but all you're trying to do is focus in that moment on yourself and your body and how you feel. So use that time to make your mind focus on where you are. That's the best you could do in that 2 minutes. And the last tip I will give to everyone, and maybe tell me, Yana, if we are running out of time, but I had two. The last tip I will give to everyone is learn how to say no when you're asked to do things that take you away from health being a priority. Just before this live, Yana, at 4:30, I was talking to a woman who was telling me with a lot of pride that she's doing great, the business is doing great, and she only sleeps 3 hours a day. I think we need to stop glorifying compromising health in our life, for ourselves and for our families and for the culture that we build in workplace. If you're sleeping lesser, or if you slept at 2 a.m., that is something that you did, incorrectly. So that's not an example that we need to set. And I can go on about a lot of other things, but make health a priority. Motion is lotion. Keep moving and do simple breathing and simple meditation. But don't do don't do DIY. Don't pick an app and start listening to music and think that is meditation, because you're doing nothing better than going and eating a bar of chocolate for your mind. There's a difference between a protein bar and a chocolate, and that's the difference between just picking an off-the-shelf music meditation and you think you're meditating, and real meditation, which is really about focusing on where you are. Like I'm enjoying being with you, Yana, right now.
Yeah, mindful actions. I really like, Kanika, that you mentioned about glorifying being busy, and it's definitely been happening in our society for quite a lot. Like, how are you today? Oh, I'm busy. And we think if we sleep 3 hours and just walk for 20, we'll get more things done. But often that's not the case. If you sleep for 8 hours and actually have a good sleep, you can accomplish the same things quicker. And I think we often don't realize it, and we just keep pushing just because we think we don't have time. But time is a really interesting concept as well. So
Yes.
let me know, guys, if you can relate to this, and you've been in a situation where you're just pushing through whole night just to finish this. But Kanika, I guess I probably want to come back to this, thing that you mentioned about knowing how to say no as well, because I think a lot of people in IT industry will be like, oh, but I have a timeline. I have to finish it by tomorrow. That's, I don't know, my bonus will depend on it. So how would you avoid that?
I've had a career in selling, Yana. Nothing gets more stressful than end of quarter in sales, and the pressure of your the CEO or someone calling and saying what happened to that deal sometimes can make you lose your sleep, or you don't know what you do. This is where when I started retraining my mind on being mindful, and I'm not saying this because there's proven research that you won't feel as anxious. You will know how to live with that uncertainty and be able to sleep well at night. And you will also learn how to make health a priority without really being angry and upset with your manager and saying, listen, I'll do with it tomorrow. It's um, it's it's the empathy that to your own body that mindfulness brings you. And I think I've shared this with you, Yana, once, that the 10 minutes where you shut down your mind and you listen to music, if that's the time where you can focus on your thoughts and think of, hey, I'm afraid that tomorrow I have to finish a deadline, those thoughts will come into your mind. If you can train your mind on how to handle that situation, that's meditation. Your mind becomes more quiet and you're able to enjoy the pressure with a little more ease. So that will be my response to it. And the reality is, you don't need to be a monk to know how to meditate. And I am saying this at the cost of probably offending a few people, but I am very serious. It seems like everyone wants to go to a monastery and become a monk and come back and teach how to be mindful, when mindfulness is all about focusing on where you are, breathing well, and just being empathetic and kind to your body. That's really what it is. And automatically you will get answers to your questions. I have someone I'm working with who is in sales, and this is end of the quarter at the moment. And I had a chat with him yesterday in our one-on-one catch-ups, and I checked how he's doing. The quarter is not going well, but he said, Kanika, I slept 8 hours. And I was like, well, that's progress. So you kind of train your body to understand and live with that uncertainty.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, and I think like we're coming back. Also, I think you mentioned in this slide. So it's about like little habits. I think that's what sometimes people overthink a bit when, then they think that they need to change something in their life, or like, change the thinking. They think about it as like a massive concept, like, something maybe sometimes not non-achievable. But in reality, to avoid this, burnout, to avoid this like big stress, you just need to start with the little things and the little habits.
I have a sample plan of what good habits look like. It's available on our website. If you go and see, you actually don't have to give your body and your mind more than 1 hour in the day. There's some really simple habits. But because we've retrained ourselves to make compromises constantly, those habits become really hard. But when you focus on it, say 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, I'm telling you, it then becomes natural for you to then do that way. It's almost like if you start eating clean, it's very hard for you to go back to junk food. Your body is actually going to detest junk food. Similarly, if you start sleeping well, and I know, Yana, you prioritize your sleep, I'm very sure it'll be very hard for you to go back to a 5-hour day or a 6-hour day, because there is a difference between sleeping 6 hours and 8 hours. And trust me, if you invest in your body gives back magically to you. So your body and your mind are extremely powerful. I can tell you the number of times I have felt that just being able to sit mindfully for 10 minutes answered many things that anxiety does not for hours. And that'll be my final tip for this webinar. We need to retrain our body. We need to retrain our mind on good habits. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take focused effort and making health a priority. And if there is one request I can have for anyone who's watching this, is don't compromise on your health. It isn't, you can ask anyone who's probably spent a little more time than you in the IT industry, or ask someone who has reached a point where they are about to retire, they will concur that compromising on health always has a cost.
100%. And I think, like, yeah, people definitely, it's especially, I guess, for young people, sometimes it's easy to forget, because, when you're young and healthy, you think, you can just have through the sleepless nights and keep going, where in reality, like, oh, I prioritize my sleep massively. Like, I sleep 8 hours every day. Like, I'm just it's non-negotiable for me. And because I know, if I have a good sleep, I will accomplish everything quicker. So it's better for me, just like, like, if I'm doing something, drop it and go have a good sleep, and I'll just will be more productive on the next day. And instead of, like, keep pushing and I don't know, sitting in the late night and trying to finish something.
And Yana, some people need training to handle such situations as well. A lot of us are not used to, culturally, or you could be an introvert or an extrovert, or you could be someone who is not very comfortable in getting into a conflicting conversation. I know a lot of people who would rather stay quiet and get the job done with someone, rather than explain to someone why it's hard for them to do it. That also requires certain amount of coaching. It requires help. And all I would say is that if you don't know how to deal with that situation, then reach out. You could reach out to a peer, you could reach out to someone, a mentor, or you could reach out to us. At the end of the day, what's really important to understand is that work-life balance, the balance is in your control. Assessing whether you're there or not is in your control. Everything else you can outsource. People can teach you to do everything else, but taking that control back is your choice. And I always say that being healthy is a choice that you have to make.
And also, prioritizing health, because, like, maybe quite often, if we and actually, it will be a good question for the audience as well. Then you think about our top values. Yeah. So, some people would say, I don't know, like, friends, I don't know, family, integrity, whatever. Like, people will come out with different values. But sometimes I'm quite surprised that health doesn't really come up in these top values.
Yes.
We kind of, like, take it for granted.
But Yana, it has changed, especially during COVID, and that's why a lot of people feel, and I'm one of them, who feels that while the pandemic has certain disadvantages of what it has taken away from us, but it has also made us realize the importance of health. And going back to the point of habit keeping and tracking and being able to follow, I just wanted to let the audience know that very soon on the Modern Health, we will have a portal available for habit tracking, which will be free for everyone to use. And one of my key goals with Modern Health, besides coaching and retraining people's mind and body, is to give them a way in which they can get started with minimal help and support. So to your point, Yana, I definitely think while COVID has taken away a lot of things, it has also made people realize what the importance of health is. I see a lot of people who never went for walks because we get 2 hours for walking now. I don't know, we get maybe 3 hours. At least go for 20 minutes, and because some freedoms have been taken away, it probably becomes more enjoyable.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like, you have slide here about the uncertainty as well. Do you want to just
yes
let us talk about the principles?
Well, so this is more for an employer, which is how do you really manage times like this? And I think the biggest thing that I would say is that we all, as employers or employees, we need to display constantly that supporting healthy habits is okay. Being able to give an employee the motivation that you can make choices that are good for you, for your family, good for work, is acceptable. And I've been speaking to a few CEOs and asked them if they have a dashboard that shows them whether their employees are red, green, or amber on their mental health. And the answer really was no. And that's what we are trying to get to. We are trying to get to a world where it's not just the physical appearance. Oh, you showed up at work. Wow, let's get 10 hours of work done. Hey, how do you feel today? Do you feel good enough to do the 10 hours or 8 hours of work? If you don't feel that good, what can we do to help you? And that's really about managing the uncertainty. I'd be keen to see, Liana, if there are any questions, because we also have to give our special prize.
Yes, guys. Yeah. So we have a prize for the best questions. So if you have any questions to Kanika regarding work-life balance, avoiding burnout, or maybe just something about her journey as well, just please make sure to pop it in the comments. We're happy to answer all the questions on the topic. And Kanika, also, I think you were talking about the whole concept of health. We already touch up on it, but
yes,
would you like to take us through your the health pillars?
Yes, and I think what I would like to talk about over here is not from the perspective of what are the pillars for modern health, which is what we are building, but how interconnected everything when it comes to health is within our body. And this is sometimes, is easier said than understood. So I'll slow down and give you a story. If I had a friend of mine who went to my website and he said, Kanika, you're such an inspiration. You created this, and I've realized that I stopped training. I'm just going to go to the gym, right? He actually works extremely hard already, and now he goes to the gym. And then the week after the first week he went back to the gym, he was even more exhausted. Adding health to your life does not mean adding more stress. You add movement that allows you to breathe better. When you breathe better, you can meditate better. When you meditate better, you sleep better. You sleep better, you have lesser craving, so you don't eat junk food. You're more mindful. It's a cycle, Yana. And you cannot handle it by just addressing one aspect. Oh, I went for a 20 minutes walk. Oh, I ate healthy. There are so many small choices that we make. So the pillars that we have created are all interconnected. When you start with modern health, we first help you with increasing your mindfulness. We do sessions that help you increase your sleep quality, that increase your awareness of what you eat and reduce your craving. We allow you to assess your body for areas of pain and increase your mobility, which we call as fearless movement. And lastly, when you see your body and mind being retrained and move well, you have more motivation. And that's when we work on performance gain and resilience. And we give you some tips on how you can improve your strength from physically and of the mind. And Yana, all this takes less than an hour a day and can be achieved in as short a period as 8 weeks. So that's really what we work on. And even if you don't work with the coaches, you can use the platform to understand what good habits are about and do DIY, because a lot of people like DIY.
Yeah, like me, for example. I'm a big DIY person, but I definitely can say this, it's all about habits. So for me, I just introduced the habit of doing, I usually do 10 minutes yoga in the morning, just 10 minutes. It's all I need. And it's change my life pretty much, because now I can't even imagine my day without few little stretches in the morning. It just happens like automatically now. It's the same as like boil kettle or something. And these like little changes, I think, help so much. And like habits with the sleep, obviously, like you don't need to, it's not like a rocket science. You don't need to do something like crazy and overwhelming to stay healthy, but it is something that you do consistently.
Yes,
uh,
and lastly, Yana, a lot of if you find someone who you feel is stressed or exhausted, or it's it's very important that we are empathetic and help the other person. A lot of times when we see someone stressed and exhausted, we kind of feel it is their problem, but at work, that attitude needs to change, and that's again a part of the workforce change that we want to drive.
and Michael, have a question regarding this. As a leader manager, how can I reliably assess employees' mental health, especially considering many people won't admit to burning out until it's easily noticeable?
Yeah, Michael, that's a very good question, and I have interviewed a lot of corporate HRs, and that the information is not one. It is not available to the human resource department, and even from an HR standpoint, you're not supposed to know about the mental health of an employee. The way you can assess it as a leader and manager is by assessing whether the employee is following the three pillars that I talk about, which is are you sleeping well. And that's I can get into a lot of length of how you can measure it, but it can be as simple as just in your one-on-one conversations assessing, hey, you getting good sleep at night? Do you feel energetic enough to get through the day? And if the answer is, hey, Michael, I really feel tired and stressed, you should pause and try and understand how you can reduce the workload or help the individual get that time to sleep. Now, of course, if you give them, less work and they are able to, you can encourage them to have healthier habits. But going back to how you can assess it, sleep, feeling the energy till the end of the day, which is what we call as motivation throughout the day, are the two pillars with which you can assess it. And of course, if when you work with an external consultant like ourselves, we can get into more deeper areas by talking to the employee, getting into a better understanding of their nutrition. We are getting into a better understanding of their physical activity, which is where, as a leader or manager, or even as HR, it'll be hard for you to step in.
I guess it's a tough one because I guess, as Michael mentioned as well, like not many people admit that they burning out. Even if you ask them, are you sleeping okay? Not that many people, probably not, like some people won't tell you.
Well, I think, Yana, that has changed in COVID. This is my view after working with a few people in the last 2 months, that people do admit, and that goes back to, if you go to my slide, I talk about leading with trust, right? You have to be able to build enough trust that your team can share that with you, and you have to display that in your own behavior. So in your team meetings, if you set the precedence of, I think I've blogged about Jeff, a journalist asked Jeff Bezos, what keeps you awake at night? And he said, before I answer that, let me tell you, nothing keeps me awake at night. I sleep really, really well. And Michael, if as leaders we start displaying that, then our team will feel more open to come and talk to us about these things. And another thing is, you can observe that a person is displaying lower energy. And it's not that hard. It's not rocket science. You don't need AI to tell you that someone's constantly showing lower energy. And you can just suggest as a leader, hey, I don't want to get into this, but as you know, you can say in a team meeting, maybe all of you should spend some time, 10 minutes doing a simple meditation. And if you wanted a free one, it's available on our website. And try and create the culture where these things are important, and automatically you would see that people have more trust in you to open up. That's really my suggestion.
And I think like it's also coming back that we mentioned before, when glorifying this busy lifestyle, and it's exactly what you mentioned. If your manager just kind of being proud of that they only sleep 3 hours and constantly working,
Yes.
um, how like you won't be able to build this trust and tell your manager that actually I'm sleeping 9 hours and I feel great.
Yeah, like I have been working with a few, actually a lot of sales professionals at the moment, and I was talking to one of the sales managers who said that it is. I know that everyone is stressed, but we're in sales, so we are stressed. And I said maybe you should allow this feeling to go away, because that can be the driving point of change. So I think, Michael, to drive that change, that the person can open up to you, you can either start throwing in some things in meetings where people feel, oh, Michael's actually okay if we talk about this, or you start talking and encourage people on being mindful or doing meditation or focus on their health. And if you feel that it can, if you have someone really in mind, feel free to get that person, refer them to us, and we'll give them a week of a free trial, and give you some feedback back.
Michael saying it's interesting that you said HR shouldn't necessarily know about individuals' mental health. There is some interesting content from MHFA about why they should know. Maybe for a later discussion. Yeah, I think it's like a massive discussion. But can you comment on it, Kanika? Because
Yes.
obviously you've spoken with HR.
So Michael, this is based on my research with top 5 companies here in Australia, and again we can probably have an offline conversation when it comes to personal information like mental health and personal details. My understanding, and I'm not an HR myself, from based on the survey I have done, is that they shouldn't be getting into personal aspects of an employee, but I'm more than happy to learn anything that I don't know from you.
And I'm definitely sure that Michael would love to have chat with you and have a virtual coffee. I'll definitely connect you on LinkedIn if you haven't been connected yet. So guys, we're hitting also almost the 50 minutes mark of our live stream. So if you have any last questions, please make sure to put it in the comments. And I guess everyone who joined us tonight, make sure obviously go and check out Kanika new project. You definitely won't be disappointed. So the Kanika have a team of few talented people joining her at this journey to help you get on the track with more balanced life. Anything else you would like to add, Kanika, regarding your team?
Well, I'll tell you that none of us are motivated by money, and most of us are on this journey to create an impact, even if it is small or big. That's really our vision and goal. We want to help people drive that change, and we talk about, Yana, wellness curve a lot on our website, and if you go and if anyone checks out, we talk about we don't want people to get to stress and exhaustion. So we want to work with people where we can develop and retrain simple habits so that they are able to sleep better, move better, and eat better every day. And if we are able to drive that change for even 100 people, that itself would be a big win for us.
So yeah, guys, whoever is on our following our live stream today, make sure to check it out and join Kanika on this journey. So at Modern Health, and Kanika and her team. And before obviously we're wrapping up this conversation, I also want to remind you that I'm going live at 5:30 every Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we're gonna go live with Sandeep. We're gonna talk about how to create and lead high-performing agile teams. So our topic for next week. So it's the same time, same place, 5:30 p.m. Career IT Career in Australia YouTube channel or my LinkedIn profile. Make sure to join and register for this one. And obviously, guys, if you're enjoying our discussion, please make sure to like this video. It's obviously encouraging me to keep going. I keep bringing some various experts from my network to share their knowledge. Obviously, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then you get notified on all upcoming events. If you have any suggestions about the topics that you want to hear, please let me know as well. Any topics, or maybe you want to hear some particular, experts from the industry, just let me know. I'm always happy to bring different topics and different people on my live streams. And Kanika, so I guess to wrap it up and put you on the spot a little bit. Yeah.
To wrap it up, I'll give you a shout out for doing this session despite your lower energies with your vaccination today. So
it's a big day, like an earthquake, vaccination, 3 hours drive, so many things.
Yes, you did really well. I'm always amazed and impressed with your energy, Anna. Thanks for having me. And I know that we've not had too many questions, but if there is anyone who has a question or an afterthought, we've just started this journey. Your feedback, your love, your appreciation, or anything that you want to say, please don't hesitate in reaching out.
Thank you, Kanika. But you want to wrap up it that quickly. So my last question that I ask most of my speakers is, I would like you to share your favorite inspirational quote to finish this live stream.
My favorite inspirational quote is, "Dreams don't have an expiry date." I always dreamed of creating an impact to people. If you again follow me on LinkedIn, I always aspire to inspire. It's funny, Anna. In COVID, everyone started doing new things. My friend encouraged me to cook like different type of cuisine and experiment. And even there, I started learning how to make rice paper rolls, and then the next day I was creating videos and posting them on Instagram. So I think I like to create an impact. And again, I've made some impact with 17 years of my career. I'm starting a new journey. And I always tell myself, dreams don't have an expiry date. Let's keep going.
100%. And I think I also would want to add another quote to this. When you start again, you don't start from the beginning, you start from experience.
Thanks, Yana. That's a great one.
So even if sometimes we feel that we're starting from the beginning, that's not true. We accumulate so much knowledge, for our lives, that it just how we apply it. And obviously, your 17 years experience in IT, I'm sure more than gonna help you in your journey with modern health.
Thanks, Yana, and thanks everyone who joined.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Michael been trying to make some joke about vaccination. The vaccination was an earth-shattering event. Thank you, Paul, Victoria, to get that jab. Let's not talk about vaccination on my YouTube channel, okay? So I'm not getting involved. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much, Kanika. So check out Modern Health, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m.
Bye.
Thanks.